Good morning. It is Wednesday, March 18th at about 20 minutes to 10. I'm Larry Cedar, and I'm back with you for another session on scanning, spelled Sqanning, completely made up word, but it references the idea of scanning, the body, scanning. Scanning, by my definition, is the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. Now, I practice scanning every day. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3 times a day. I'm pretty devoted to it, and I come back here occasionally to report on things I've discovered about it, and perhaps take you through the process if you're new to it, or kind of review certain things about it if you've practiced it or have heard these sessions before. So again, by my definition, scanning is the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. Incremental release of muscular tension. And the simplest way to demonstrate that is squeeze your hands together. That's called contraction. On my count, you're going to release all the pressure or effort in your hands. 3, 2, 1, and release. That sensation of release is scanning. So this technique is based on the ideas of a man named Thaddeus Golis, who wrote a book called The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment, in which he divides the entire universe into 2 basic forces: contraction, squeeze your hands together, see what that feels like, and expansion, 3, 2, 1, release. And we vacillate between those 2 states. And as you begin to study this technique, you'll begin to see how it applies to everything: your mood, physical objects, processes, your thoughts, how things are either in a more contracted state or a more expansive state. And we vacillate between the 2. And ideally, in your life, you want to balance. You want to be centered. We spend the majority of our time contracting. And what does that mean? Thinking, building, doing. Thoughts in particular are a contraction. We spend a lot of time contracting. When you become overly contracted, you become limited, restricted, tight. When you expand, you become loose, open, available. So this is why we vacillate between the 2. And if you think about it in life, you can see where we are drawn to contraction and when we are drawn to expansion. The internet, surfing the web, is a perfect example of contraction. We're looking for ideas, we're looking for thoughts, we're looking for stimulus, we're looking for something that's created by bringing together thoughts and ideas and objects and so forth. And inevitably, when we become overly contracted, which most of us are in an overly contracted state, which is tense, worried, fearful, limited, constrained, we look for ways to expand. We naturally look for ways to expand, to balance that. So, for example, liquor, alcohol, drugs, marijuana, whatever. These are all forms of chemical expansion that, in a way, force your body to expand. Then there's more natural forms of expansion, such as meditation, yoga, anything that allows you to quiet your mind, to open yourself, to become more available and calm. So this technique, as I developed it, was based on a hope for simplicity. I've tried a lot of things. I've tried yoga, I've tried meditation, many things in my life, because I'm a naturally contracted person. I think a lot, I worry. I'm always looking for information and always looking to tackle challenges and so forth. That's contracted, which is a good thing. That's how we live our lives. But in looking for a way to balance my life, I searched out all kinds of things. Like I said, yoga, meditation, physical exercise, all these things. And what I finally came to realize is that most processes that we approach to expand are contracted by nature. So let's say you try to think your way out of a problem. Well, thinking is a contraction. So you're contracting to try to stop contracting, and it's counterproductive. What I realized, I'll try to distill this as quickly as I can, is that the release of muscular tension is the perfect metaphor for expansion. If you're making a fist tight, 3, 2, 1, release, you've expanded. 3, 2, 1, release. This isn't a mental process, which is a contractive process. This is a sheerly muscular process. So scanning for me became a way to instantly expand, focusing only on the musculature. In focusing only on the musculature, I removed the option of thought, which is so frequently the source of so much contractive stress, thinking, forming worries, ideas, planning. It takes you away from that, because your full and complete focus in scanning is on muscular release. That's all you're doing. It's not a smart technique. It's a dumb technique. There's nothing being created in your mind. There's nothing being figured out. You're simply taking the muscles of your body and releasing them incrementally, 3, 2, 1, release. And incremental being the key word, because even the smallest amount, if this is the continuum between contraction and expansion, even the smallest amount of expansion takes you away from contraction. You can't contract and expand at the same time. So anything you do to expand brings you in the right direction. Even the smallest amount of release, like again, make a fist, 3, 2, 1, release. What that does, when you release any part of the musculature of your body, it sends a signal to your body, we've stopped contracting, we are now going to begin expanding. And it's cumulative. So in scanning, what we do is we start by incremental releases of muscular tension, staying with it as long as we can until you experience what I call a breakthrough, where your body stops fighting because we're resistant. We want to stay contracted. We think that's the safe space, and lets go. Now, this can take 10 minutes. It can take a half an hour. It can take an hour. The challenge of scanning is the discipline of staying with it. And I've done this for many, many years, thousands of hours. And I will tell you that when I'm in a highly contracted state and I realize that I'm supposed to expand, I need to expand, it's very, very difficult for me to start. I don't want to let go after all these years. But what I've learned is if I can start and stay with it, I will eventually go into an expanded state and feel the relief and peace and calm and openness that comes with expansion. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to take you through the technique now pretty quickly. When you do practice on your own, make it as slow a process as you care to. The most important thing being that you begin to practice it, make it a part of your life. Habitually, we have become accustomed to thinking of contractive things as useful, constructive, helpful. We assume they're going to make us feel better. That's why we can't get off our phones. I'll find something on here that will make me feel okay about my life or about something or help me figure something out. So we go to a contractive process to try to become uncontracted, and it's self-defeating. So you have to break the cycle. And what you begin to learn through the practice of scanning is that letting go, which is what scanning is, clench, 3, 2, 1, release. Letting go is not only pleasurable and beneficial, but it is also a very smart thing to do in terms of achieving your goals in life, because it opens your eyes to possibilities. It encourages you to let go of everything you're holding on to, including muscular tension, which gives you a certain flexibility, a certain greater awareness, which allows you to more successfully navigate your life. So moving into an expanded state is something that you have to reinforce, because we have decades of life telling us that contracting is the solution to everything. And you have to retrain yourself to embrace the idea that expansion is also a valid approach to fixing your life, helping your life, even though it feels like you're letting go of all the things you've built and are holding on to as a means of success. Your name, your career, your money, your house, your relationships, your thoughts and ideas, your political beliefs, your religious beliefs. All these things are things we've created through contraction that we feel are a suit of armor that protect us in life and allow us to succeed. And you have to now begin to reverse that. You don't stop doing those things, but to remind yourself there's a whole other way to go, which intuitively won't help you, but in reality does. And that's letting go. Letting go. And the muscles are the gateway. When you begin to release the musculature of your body, it ultimately affects your mind, which I think of as a muscle also. When you think hard, you're contracting the muscle of the brain. And it encourages your brain to release, to let go, and all these worrisome thoughts and ideas and philosophies that you've hung on to so tightly float away. And you're left in a place of expansion, which is experienced as stillness, silence, quiet, calm, peace, awareness, timelessness, nothingness. You can't live in that space. You've got to get out there and work and achieve and maintain your relationships and fight your political battles and pray the way you see fit. But you can step away from it for a moment. And that place you go to with scanning is a place of peace, and it's a place of what I call the original self. Before you began acquiring a name and a career and a religion and political beliefs and opinions and positions in life that you hold on to so tightly, it takes you back to a place before you had all of that and you just existed as a human being. What does that feel like? It's very still. You hear things. You feel things. You're not trying to do anything. You're just existing. That's an expanded state. It's a place that's wonderful to visit 2, 3, as many times as you like a day. Okay, that's enough explanation. So let's start. Again, this is such a simple technique. All we're going to do is release muscular tension. Sometimes it's hard to trust something so simple, but it is that simple. The challenge, the difficult thing about scanning is continuing to practice it, especially when you don't want to, especially when you are particularly contracted. That's the times when we really don't want to let go. And that's exactly when you need to let go. So I'll run through the technique fairly quickly now and touch base on a few things that I've discovered, and we'll see where it goes. We start every scanning session by a series of deep breaths. Breaths are expansive. You'll notice that when you're tense or worried or in a bad place, you tend to be contracted, holding your breath. Part of the reason we feel so uncomfortable when we're in a panic or in a bad mood or worried is we've kind of stopped breathing. Your holding is a self-defense mechanism. That leads the body into a state of panic because, of course, if we don't breathe, we will die. So the body literally feels like it's dying, and you start to panic. So breath is a way of breaking that cycle. Take a deep breath. Reassure your body that you will give it the oxygen it needs. It breaks the cycle of contraction, which is holding the breath, and it begins to move you again into a state of expansion. Very important to remember, again, the slightest amount of expansion is the discontinuation of contraction. Can't do both at the same time. Can't make a fist, can't release a fist at the same time. Any amount of expansion takes you away from contraction. That's why I use the word incremental. In your practice of this technique, you will get frustrated. You will say, it isn't working. You will say, I don't want to do this. You will say, I'd rather do anything right now than just sit still and be quiet and be stuck with my thoughts and feelings. It's difficult. But again, you will learn that you can break through that. And the technique is muscular release. It's a trick, really. It's a trick. It sends a message, very simple physical message, not a thought, that we have begun expanding. So deep breaths are the start. Deep breath. And pay attention to what you feel. We just expanded infinitesimally. I felt immediately a tingling. I felt immediately like things had changed. Take another. Now you may begin, like me, hearing voices saying, what are you doing? You can't stop doing what you were doing. You can't put down your phone, the internet. You can't stop thinking about that concern you have or that thing that's coming up or that problem with that other person. You have to keep thinking about those things. You'll immediately feel rebellion from your body. That's your contractive self. Contraction wants to continue contracting. You're breaking that habit. You're breaking that cycle. Deep breath. Like my body doesn't even want to do this now. I mean, I always feel safer contracting or doing contracted processes because I feel like I'm doing something, I'm getting something done, I'm working on fixing things. But scanning retrains you to realize that releasing can fix things too. Letting go can fix things. Another deep breath. So we've begun. So again, the simplest of techniques, simplest aspect of scanning is taking a deep breath. It's so simple. And you'll recognize a lot of the things I do as parts of other philosophies and approaches like yoga, like meditation. I think there's a universal truths that are all approached from different angles by different people. This is mine, but we share that. We share that commonality. So expansion. What begins to happen to me when I start to scan is I start to realize I can be still and do nothing for a second. One of my first acting classes, I'm an actor, one of my first acting classes, our teacher asked us to sit in complete stillness and silence for 5 minutes. None of us knew why. I've never been so uncomfortable in my life. This is in college. I was freaking out. I can't joke, I can't talk, I can't think, I can't move. Not only is this challenge, but I'm frightened by this nothingness. And yet in that stillness and silence, I began to experience myself. So be prepared for the resistance your body and mind will throw up at you when you start scanning, and just move through it incrementally. So what I do with scanning is I break the body into 8 muscular zones. You can't just say to your whole body, relax. You could, but sometimes it's more effective to focus on a particular zone, I call it, and just start applying muscular release. And you're going to go through your body through the 8 zones, and then you're going to start and you're going to do it again. And each time you go through this cycle of release, it will get easier and easier. And pretty soon you'll go, I'm not fighting this anymore. It's actually feeling good. Pretty soon you won't even be thinking about it or judging yourself. Judgment is contractive. You won't be judging yourself or the process. You'll just continue doing it until you reach this place of stillness, and then just stay there. Then you can go back to contracting, because we must. That's how we conduct our lives. So let's start. Zone 1 is the face. On my count, I want you to release incrementally the smallest amount. Very important that you recognize that even the smallest amount of release is very important. It's validating, it's confirming that that release occurred, that is scanning. So you can say, I felt that. The face, 3, 2, 1, and release the muscles of the face, 3, 2, 1, and release. So I felt that. Again, for myself, whenever I start scanning, I start to get a little nervous because I feel like I'm exposing myself. I'm dropping my guard. It feels very vulnerable. That's good. The more resistance you experience, the more you need to release. That's how much contraction you're holding. I'm stunned sometimes at how much tension I'm holding I'm not even aware of. The face. You can look in the mirror if it helps to see it. 3, 2, 1, and release. You see how I went? So. Now that's it. If you felt that, you have scanned. The transition from this to this. That release. It can be very, very small. Very, very small. Any of you who have vision issues, like you need glasses and things like that, you'd be amazed if you'll spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, just thinking of your eyes, thinking how they feel, and then on your count, 3, 2, 1, releasing the tension in your eyes. And you'll see when you're done, let's say 20 minutes, half an hour of that, how much sharper your vision is. A lot of vision issues come from muscular tension. A lot of physical issues in general come from muscular tension. Back issues, neck issues, high blood pressure. So many come from contraction, an overly contracted state. And you think of a lifetime of contraction, you think how much you're holding. That's why it's so difficult to reverse the process, because it's habitual. We wake up in the morning going, so you're learning the balance to that. And again, it's very simple, very simple. You just have to put in the time. And I keep a journal. I keep a journal to make sure that I put in a certain amount of scanning, muscular release, every day. It's very difficult for me to put things down and sit down and just do this, because again, I don't want to let go, but I try to make sure. So I recommend keeping a journal. Again, the face, 3, 2, 1, and release. Again, very important. Make a note of what that felt like. Zone 2 is the top of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. And I always try to imagine like an egg being cracked on the top of my head and just feel the muscles just kind of suddenly just slide off your skull. And again, it's an investigation. You're scanning your body. You're finding, where's my muscular tension? And you'll go, wow, I had no idea. I thought I was pretty relaxed. And you'll go, man, I was holding so much tension. Top of the head. If it's unfamiliar, how do I release the muscles at the top of the head? Just visualize it. Visualize the muscles being like this and going to this. 3, 2, 1, and release. Until you feel the change. The change is scanning. The shift from this to this is scanning. Top of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. So now you've done the face and the top of the head. Again, it's cumulative. The change can be very, very minor. What's important is that it happened and that you validate, you confirm it, you acknowledge it. You want to become a connoisseur of muscular release. It can be very small, very subtle, as long as it happens. It's amazing how difficult it can be when you're contracted to let go of even the smallest amount of tension. Your body just goes, what? No. But make it happen. Top of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. So now you've started down the road. Hardest part is starting. Now you've started down the road, so just continue. The back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. 3, 2, 1, and release. I snap because to me it's sort of a reinforcement that the power to those muscles is being turned off. Muscles require energy to contract. They require no energy to release. Part of the reason we're exhausted at the end of a day or end of any process is we've been contracting. We've been thinking, we've been bracing ourselves. That uses energy. Even if you're just sitting in a chair and you're contracted, you're using energy. So the snap, to me, is turn off the power to that muscle. 3, 2, 1, back of the head, and release. And it just goes to its naturally relaxed state. What you'll find when you scan is you suddenly have a burst of energy because you're not walking around in a cage anymore. You're just existing free and ready, prepared for whatever action needs to be taken. That's why I say it's just as valid as contraction, because being relaxed and ready is the perfect state to be in when facing any challenge. For me as an actor, a singer, anyone dealing with anything, if you approach it in a relaxed, available state, you're so much more effective. Zone 4 is the neck. 3, 2, 1, and release. Again, 3, 2, 1, the neck, and release. If this is new to you, you may go, I don't know what that feels like to release the muscles of my neck. Well, it's the same as this. Make a fist, 3, 2, 1, release. It's the same as this. Squeeze your hands together, 3, 2, 1, release. It's all the same. All muscular release is the same. Any part of your body. It's a simple function of letting go. Turning off the power that is encouraging you to hold. You're going 3, 2, 1, let go. In effect, you're saying, I'm going to stop trying. 3, 2, 1. And God bless our bodies. We instinctively want to prepare and defend ourselves, so we're always on red alert. But that can be to our detriment if it gets out of control. What you do with scanning is you bring yourself back into balance. You must contract to achieve things, but you must expand to bring yourself into balance. Zone 5 is the shoulders. Allow them to drop. 3, 2, 1, and release. If you're frustrated, if you say it's not working, if you say I'm not feeling it, guess what? That's your contractive mind trying to make sense, trying to judge and evaluate the process. You're going to hear a lot of that going on in your brain because you're trying to let go of contraction and the contractive self wants to hang on. So all those negative thoughts, just let them be and just keep knocking at the door. I call it knocking at the door, tapping at the door. Eventually, scanning will win the battle. 5, the shoulders. 3, 2, 1, and release. Let's do these 4. Face, 3, 2, 1, and release. Top of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Neck, 3, 2, 1, and release. Shoulders, 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. All we're doing with scanning is releasing muscular tension. Tiny incremental amounts of muscular tension. And the reason it doesn't matter that they're so small is because it's cumulative. You do this 100 times, you'll have done a lot of expansion. It doesn't have to feel like a huge release. You just have to feel that you did release muscular tension. That's it. That's scanning. Zone 6 is the chest in front of the waist. 3, 2, 1, and release. We hold a lot of tension here. We're protecting our heart, our soul. 3, 2, 1, and release. Zone 7 is down the back into the pelvis. 3, 2, 1, and release. There's a clenching sensation in our pelvis. It's a very sensitive zone, as I always say, because it's the area of waste elimination and sexuality. So there's a lot of fear and anxiety tied up in that area. Fears of loss of control, fears of desire, fears of impulses that we may not be able to maintain. So there's a holding, a clenching. So you just see what that feels like to let go of all the tension in your pelvis. 3, 2, 1, and release. And zone 7 and the final zone 8, the zones get larger as we progress, is down the legs, across the knees, and down into the feet. We're looking to feel the release in the feet. 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, the feet. 3, 2, 1, and release. So we all want to succeed. So the way to mark, even though that's a contracted process, judgmental, judging things and grading them, you want to feel like you've achieved something just to encourage you to keep going with scanning. The signs you're looking for are that you felt it. Did I feel that? Did I feel that release? The feet, 3, 2, 1, and yeah, it was tiny, but I felt myself let go of the muscular tension in my feet. 3, 2, 1, and release. And if at the end of a session, any session, you don't feel like you achieved much, don't look for how much you achieved. Look for any amount of shift. Did I move the dial 5%? Did I expand that much more? Initially, you may not feel that big of a difference. This is, again, a cumulative process. It's a process that requires time and practice. The reason I don't really tell people much about scanning or talk about it is because for most people, it's a very frustrating process. And they tend to say, it won't work for me, or it can't work for me, or I tried it and it didn't work for me, because they weren't willing to give it the time required. It's a lifetime pursuit for me. I can't expect anyone to, be as committed to it as I am, because for me, it's an exploration. It's very interesting to me. But you will get out of it what you put into it. There's no question about it. You will get out the benefit according to how much you put into it. So the hardest part, again, scanning is so simple to learn. 3, 2, 1, release. That's it. That's scanning. But to really benefit, you have to commit to it and put in the time. And that's an individual decision. For some people, I can't. There's too much I have to get done. There's too much I need to do. I can't just sit and do nothing. I can't just let go and release. I can't afford the time. And it's frustrating. My body rebels. It doesn't want to do it. And I can't stand sitting alone, doing nothing and thinking. It makes me too nervous and too frightened. I go, I get it. I relate to every one of those feelings. I still find scanning to be frightening, annoying, frustrating, until I move past the point of resistance and into a expanded state. And then I go, oh, I see. The appeal of a lot of things we reach out for in life as a solution is that they promise an immediate benefit. Ice cream. Feels good to eat it. The internet. It seems stimulating and keeps our minds off our problems. There's an immediate kind of feedback from it, and it keeps us from having to actually face ourselves. This is not the case. Scanning asks you to challenge yourself to just be by yourself. So there's no initial appeal. People have said to me, oh, that sounds great, the idea that I could relax and calm and just, oh, yeah, I'd like to try that. Then they try it and they go, oh, no, I can't. I need something that I know will fix me, and it'll do it quick. A shot of whiskey. That has an expansive effect, but there's, as we know, side effects from alcohol, and same with drugs. If you want a natural way to do it, you're going to have to take the difficult route, which is actually disciplining yourself to scan every single day, at least once a day, if not more. But it's totally up to you. The benefit will be reflected in the effort you put in. And all we're doing is letting go. It's amazing how difficult that can be. This technique is a contraction. That's what always amuses me about this. Calling it scanning, having a approach, a practice, that's a contraction. I developed this concept, and I defined it, and I share it, teach it, if you will. And so it's a structure now, which I've built. So in a way, this is self-defeating. Talking about it, I always say don't talk about scanning, because talking about it is a contraction. But on some level, you have to define the parameters of a technique. I think it's worth contracting a little bit to help people expand. That's why I try to make it as simple as possible. All we're doing is releasing muscular tension. But you need to put in the time. So I think that's been about half an hour. I don't like to go longer than that. It's called Sqanning, Sqanning. Again, if you've done this cycle, what you do if you were practicing is you do it again, and you do it again. You cycle through it, and you'll start to feel that shift, and you'll start to feel your body letting go as it begins to get the message that, oh, we're not contracting, now we're expanding, and it begins to feel the benefit and gives into the process. So you'll do it as many times as you like. It's called Sqanning, Sqanning. It's the incremental, very important, incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. You can't live in this place. You wouldn't get anything done. But it is a balance to the rest of your life where you spend your time learning, thinking, doing, contracting. I've done it for several years now. I think I'm almost up to 9,000 hours of scanning, because I do keep a log. I'm still just as frustrated and challenged by the process, but what I have come to recognize and learn is that it works, it's real. And as broad a definition as Thaddeus Gola says about the universe being contractive or expansive, it's just true. And if you begin to explore this, you'll begin to understand everything that's happening in life through that lens. What is the result of over-contraction? What are we seeing in the world that's contractive? What are we seeing in the world that's expansive? It begins to explain everything. and you begin to see how it makes sense. And then you're encouraged to bring that awareness into your own life so that you can live a more balanced, fulfilled, calm, aware, successful life. And that's what it means to me. That's it. Feel free anytime to message me on Facebook if you have any questions. I come on occasionally to do these sessions, and then I move them over. Stay here on this Facebook page for a while, then it moves over to the actual Sqanning Facebook page. Just do a search, Sqanning. There's a page. It's all my sessions, previous sessions. They're all basically the same, but I come on occasionally to kind of share my most recent insights, but nothing's really changed in all these years. It's just the same. That's why I like the technique. It's just a very simple thing that will never change, muscular release, and see where it takes you. Because the muscles can take the mind to a more expansive place. And it's a very simple technique. That's it. I feel better. Okay, have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.